Ladies and gentlemen, Kim here. Welcome to the Daily Update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Usually, I do not produce videos on the weekends, but this Friday, because where the market is today, I thought I'll do this video for you guys, especially going into the 3-day weekend due to the Memorial Holiday. Is it Memorial Holiday weekend this week? Yes, Memorial Holiday on Monday, so market will be closed. Special edition for you for this weekend's video. Market is up about 2.5% there. On the S&P Nasdaq 3.2, semiconductor made a move 4%, Dow almost 2, Russell 2000 2.7, transport 2, banks same, energy, biotech, healthcare, home builders, utility, retail, emerging market, every single sector's up about 2 to 3% down. Update today. Bitcoin down. Gold, silver, miners up a little bit. Dollar down. Oil up. Treasury bond down. VIX is down. Treasury bond slightly up. VIX is down about 6% there. Let's look at the S&P 500 ETF. Spider. 65-minute chart here. So this is where we closed yesterday, and this is where we opened up this morning. So here's what we talked about yesterday. I emphatically, expressed the fact that buyers needed to see a gap up. The reason is because there was these down gaps that needed to be filled, right? And you can see that right here. So there's a down gap right here that was still open, and then there's another down gap here, right? We talked about that yesterday. And because of these down gaps, they needed to see that jump start. They didn't quite make that into a island bottom where they didn't gap up above the down gap area or down gap level. It like gapped up right here in the midpoint. But what they did was to able to push it on that first hour and close that down gap completely. And that's exactly what the buyers needed to do. And on top of that, with this process of a bullish run today, for the first time since early May, we have that cultivation of higher high, right? We can look at this as that high, like swing high here, another swing high, and that's what we call a higher high right here. And that's gonna be the very first step. The buyers needed to cultivate and establish before they can start their own midterm uptrend. But what's the definition of uptrend? Higher lows and higher highs. Well, we do have a higher high, and what the buyer's going to need is going to be that higher low, which we don't have. So what can we expect though going into next week? So pretty much right now, there are no known resistances until about 424.50. Which is in that down gap area, right? 425 and 429. And that 429 is an important pivot because not only do we have a gap area right there, right? That's a gap fill area. And that's going to be the prior swing high point. There were about, I remember this time, this was late April. And I remember I was covering this on my daily update videos where bulls were trying to make new highs. Bulls are trying to break out. They tried it 3 times. And I talked about how that this is where the midterm moving average was residing. We talked about how if bulls can't break out, they're not going to able to survive the month of May. And this was, right? And they needed to break out if they were going to survive. They were going to survive the month of May. This was that like May 4th right here. And you can see the entire month of May until about, when it bottomed here, until May 20th or so, things became really, really hectic for the buyers. So this is a very important level, 430. I'm sure bulls are going to remember this level, 430. Damn sure, because we stayed here quite a bit, right here. So once we get there, there's going to be another battle going on in that vicinity. So just because there's no, known strong resistances until 425, that doesn't mean it's going to go straight up to that level. I mean, it could, but I think just because we have such a big momentum here, there could be another push, at least to retest that 425 level. Again, that 425, 429, very strong resistance. However, should there be any kind of decline, there's going to be potentially a retest of a 408. Remember that 408 and 405 is a strong support now because bulls have reclaimed this level, right? So now this level of 408, 409, what it was a resistance, and strong resistance, I might add, just because that pivot level of 408, and also we had both of those down gaps, which we talked about yesterday. Not only reclaimed it to the upside with the up gap, we thrust it, we kept going. So should there be any kind of decline next week, bulls want to protect 408, 405. Not only that, we now have the micro term rising and the short term also rising. The midterm is still kind of in a downward trajectory. Potentially, we could say, that pink moving average, we could say it's maybe flattening it out. It's going to take some time for the midterm moving average to change its trajectory. It's not going to take just a couple of days. It's going to take more than a couple of weeks before it changes its trajectory. So we can say that a midterm is, as of today, looks like potentially flattening out. So maybe we could say that in the midterm, we're not quite there yet, but we're kind of getting into potentially a neutral ground. But I don't think I want to say that confidently yet until this gap 429 is filled. I think the price gets up there, fill that down gap, and gets to about 430. I think at that time we could say that midterm trend is now neutral to slightly bullish, right? But as of today, short term and the micro term is going to support the bull. So with this move that we saw in the last week and a half or so, the short-term sentiment and the micro sentiment is now shifting. Definitely the micro term is confidently bullish. In the short term, we're shifting bullish. It's looking very bullish, while the midterm is working very hard to change that trajectory. Check out that oscillator. See if we can extract any more information. So this is what we talked about, right? That, that oscillator hitting the top of his band, right? Because remember, we talked about the fact that how when it didn't hit the top of his band, the ceiling, you can see the tankage came, right? Right here. We've been tracking this for how long now? Every single day this week. And I was harping on this. I was emphatically, articulating that bulls must, this time around, need to bring that oscillator to the top of its band. And for the first time in the last month and a half or so, we are hitting the top of his band. And that's really good sign, because not only the oscillator hitting the top of his band, we already got some momentum going right here. Close the day very, very strong. So unless we see some kind of shenanigan down gap of some sort on Tuesday morning, there's a good chance that bulls can kind of grind it up, at least to get up about 425, 429. I'm gonna come back for you. We'll reassess the situation. Enjoy your evening and go training next week.